So do you think the story of baby Richie shows that there's a lot about preemies that we still don't know, and especially when it comes to viability?
Yeah, I mean, this is it, Kara. This is what we've been talking about. I mean, there are babies being aborted every single day in the United States that are older than this baby, and they're being aborted electively. So they're not being aborted because, you know, they have something wrong with them or because the mother's life is at risk or anything like that. Okay. They're being aborted because their mother decided that they would be an inconvenience on their lives. And that's the reason that the overwhelming majority of abortions are taking place in this country. That's the reason that the majority of abortions are happening even at 21, 22, 23, 24 weeks of pregnancy. And this is really what it's about, right? It's about the humanity of these children. And so, you can have in one hospital a baby that is fighting for its life, like this child, and we're talking about under a pound, significantly under a pound at 11 ounces, at only 10 inches long. You can have a baby fighting for its life in the NICU, and then right down the hall, a baby that same exact gestation being killed for an elective purpose.
And just looking, I know babies, they undergo so much growth and development, even by the day in the mother's womb. But 15 weeks and 21 weeks, not the greatest gap in between. And yet we have both the White House press secretary and the House Speaker, Nancy Pelosi, we saw last week, both of them dodging on the question when asked, just very simply, are 15-week unborn babies human? And that should be a slam dunk, very easy question to answer. And yet both of them, they completely punted. They dodged the question. So I want to ask you, are 15-week babies, unborn babies, human?
Of course they're human. They can't be anything else, right? I mean, this is so simple. This is basic biology. I mean, you could ask my 5-year-old, my 6-year-old, you could ask any of my children, are unborn babies human beings? And any of them would say, yeah, duh, right? Of course, because if you have a human egg and a human sperm and those come together, they only make a human being. They don't make a dog. No woman has ever given birth to a dog or a cat or a bird or anything else, right? It's a human being. Why can't Nancy Pelosi answer that simple question? She gave such a weird non-answer, such a strange non-answer when asked that very simple question. Same thing with Jen Psaki. Why can't they just answer the question? They can't answer the question because they know if they answer the question, then their whole entire argument falls apart.
And have you noticed that in your years of experience with the pro-life movement, have you noticed a lot of people who advocate for abortion, that they know the humanity of the unborn, they know they're ending a life, but they try and cover it up with euphemisms, and they pretend that they don't know, but they truly do know in their heart of heart. Like I was mentioning earlier with my anecdote about one of my high school teachers, I've had this plenty of times over, but that was the one that stood out to me the most, is we went back and forth, and finally I got him to agree that in his mind, he said, okay, fine, I'll agree that at 8 weeks, there's the spark of life. Now it's a human. And he still said, at first I thought, there we go, we've converted. He's now pro-life. And he still thought it was okay to kill the child. And he even admitted to me, said, well, using your definition, that would meet the definition of murder or killing. And he was completely unfazed by that. So have you seen a mixture between those who maybe lie to themselves or those who maybe just don't know?
Yeah, I think you're right, Kara. I mean, I remember when I worked at Planned Parenthood, there was a nurse practitioner actually that worked with me. And I'll never forget. She said to me, Abby, I do believe that abortion is killing a baby. I do believe that it's murder. And she said, but I'm okay with it. And I remember working there and thinking, oh my gosh, that's shocking to hear. And I think that we are inching more and more that way, where there are more and more people, because science is coming down on the side of life, right? Logic comes down on the side of life. Of course, our faith comes down the side of life. And so I think we're inching closer and closer to that, where it's just inexcusable. Of course, science confirms that this is an unborn human being in the womb. And so people are having to sort of come to terms with the fact that this is scientifically a human being, and any interruption in that life continuum that's intentional is murder. It's killing. And so you have to just say, well, then I guess I'm okay with murder. And how do you accept that? How do you accept that as a moral human being?